Good morning. Today is the 11th of May, and we are in the Five Bogs again. We are going to follow up on our sweep last week. It was quiet last week, so we're going to do 2 weeks to cover for bases before we start spreading out a little bit. That's our plan, mainly because I don't have a better one for the day. And we will take things from there, see what we find, and go from there. Come on along and we'll see what we find. Thanks. So we're back, segment one. Whoa, as I wipe out just in time for your entertainment. So again, we're in the Five Bogs. We're in bog number 4, I guess this is. And we're assessing the moisture factor, and I can already see that it's wetter than it looked. So the odds of dry feet today, not looking so good. It is what it is. So today, I don't know if this is more Bigfooting related social studies. Got a couple of weird impressions there. Or if we're talking about gossip, it's probably somewhere in the middle. So I had an interesting series of exchanges during the course of the week with the people in some of the more they call them believer groups. I'll call it a woo group because it's effectively what it is. They advocate the demand and the need to believe pretty much everything. And where there's everything, there's no filter. But it's kind of an interesting reversal of what I've seen happen in my own groups, which are not believer oriented as much as they are science oriented. And I gotta say, I find you have more tolerance for the woo in the sciencey groups than you do the other way around. And I'm sure they would disagree, but they are thin-skinned. The nature of what I saw directly was somebody who was basically calling for quote-unquote inappropriate comments, like, the ones that ask questions about the validity of evidence and all, to go to the moderators and the admins so they can be properly deleted. In short, basically, rule by censorship of those messages that you don't agree with. And ironically, when there was a backlash from the quote-unquote naysayers, the critical thinkers in the group, at first there was some ray of hope because the naysayers made a valid point towards freedom of speech, and this is basically the argument that a lot of the woo types have done when they come into the critical thinking groups and, making the argument, you have to respect everybody's opinion. Like, no. If you're preaching nonsense and we ask for evidence and you don't have it, it is what it is. We're going to call it what it is. You don't have to like us doing that, but it's not going to change the fact that we're gonna. And you don't control the show, but these are the same little gutless pussies, and I'm not going to be freaking remotely sugarcoating in this, who do the DMCA takedowns and the copyright strikes and all this kind of bullshit on YouTube against the people like the Tall Ones has had this happen. Steve Coles has had this happen. And it's censorship is what it is. It's an attempt at censorship against those people whose ideas you don't like. It's cowardice. And the surest way to prove that you're somebody who's full of shit in the Bigfoot community, surest way to prove that is to do exactly that. Try to copyright strike somebody into silence because they have dared to disagree with you, oh God and horrors. case you're wondering what I'm trying to do, there's a rock around here that I was using as a jumping off spot last year. Trying to remember where it is. Because believe it or not, the water is deeper than it looks along here. Where the hell did I put that damn rock? Bear with me for a second as I kind of wander aimlessly, seemingly in circles looking for it. But there was a name, her first name was Amber, if you know her from the woo circles, and she was not a total doxing, a semi-doxing, but she was calling for people to mass report the people to the admins so that those nasty, dirty little naysayers can be freaking properly censored so they don't get a say in the matter. And the true cowardice of this, is that my rock? It was right in here unless somebody moved it. I'm just going to chance the jump from here to here. Okay. Minimal wetness. But, and the weatherman lied too. I dressed more for 40s today, and then with the sun coming up, it's actually getting quite warm. He lied, or was wrong. In finger quotes, he was mistaken. That rock is not here. Interesting. There's a sizable rock in the middle of nowhere. Humor me while I just work this out, because I don't think it was this far down, and no, it wasn't. It just isn't there. But it hasn't been a rain-soaked week, so we are able to make it through here and continue our discussion of the hypocrisy in the Bigfoot community, which I could name names, but it seems like it's just becoming an ongoing trend, actually, to call for censorship when those pesky naysayers start to call bullshit on evidence that is nothing but bullshit, because there is no evidence to it. Peeve number 1, stick structures. There is not in existence a factual, non-AI generated picture of a Bigfoot playing with sticks in order to make a stick structure. They're not there. There is no evidence that forest-dwelling monkey people arrange sticks as stick art or communication or making of glyphs or whatever else you attribute it to. There's no evidence to back that up. And I know that opinion is going to anger some, but it doesn't make it wrong, because it isn't. And to the admins of the Bigfoot subreddit that are basically, well, this is your opinion. No. Until you have contrary evidence, it is not opinion, it is fact. It is accepted scientific fact until you can prove otherwise. Along a similar vein, years and years ago, the accepted scientific fact by religious circles was that the earth was this flat thing. And some dipshits still believe that to this present day. I'm not going to give them airtime. Suck it. Then some asshole had to go and sail around the ocean blue and prove that it wasn't round. It wasn't flat. It was actually kind of round, although it's not exactly round, because gravity kind of pushes in the poles a little bit. It's actually a little bit of an ovoid, believe it or not. So, getting back to how that relates to Bigfoot, back in the late 90s, Matt Moneymaker attributed, and here's one where you can go from the source on out, wood knocking with Bigfoot. Along a similar pain in the ass for those that are woo-centric, I'm just going to call them woo-tards. It's essentially what they are. One picture, blurry or otherwise, of Bigfoot whacking on a tree. None. It's just been accepted as canon in the cult of Bigfoot that they do this. I'm actually looking for fish, if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm partially doing like a fisherman scouting thing right now. So there's a lot of things out there that people just take as canon, for lack of a better word, because it's part of the religion. I have to use the wording because it kind of is fitting. The religious Bigfooting orthodoxy that Bigfoot whacks on trees. And then you delve into why. And you have people like Chris Noel writing long-winded books about the various bits of deadfall in the New England forests without remotely attempting to attribute meaning to it, because he knows damn well in his heart of hearts that there isn't. His latest grift, however, is not Bigfoot, it's UFOs. Sorry, UAPs in the current parlance. Anti-gravity and the afterlife. That's a fun one. And I could actually pick up the book and read it, but then I'd know what he means and my head would probably hurt. So, no offense, Chris, I'm going to pass. I'm sure we go forward a year, we'll have more silliness out of you, because last year it was the March on Washington, D.C., or maybe it was a year before, but March on Washington and make them acknowledge and protect Bigfoot. He thought he was going to get 200,000 people. Did you even go, Chris, or did you just realize it was a stupid idea in the last minute and decide that it was probably just not a good idea? Whatever. Kind of have to wonder if he's still in the BFRO, because last I knew he was, and it kind of raises the question, if they are the allegedly only scientific organization out there, how do they feel about this guy selling silly ideas? Because the UAP anti-gravity afterlife shit is pretty far out there, Chris, I gotta say, man. You're delving deep into the muck. And yes, it's not a complete little ranting on nonsense related video from Ganglion, unless I'm ragging on Chris Noel at least once, because he just comes up with silly ideas. And it's probably upsetting Amber. They're probably friends. They're probably very good friends, believing each other's silliness, but there you go. But for those of there, oh yeah, we're at that segment again. So for those that realize that I'm just an armchair researcher, this is my man cave. There's my Barco lounger. That's where the TV normally is. And that is my study. So, okay. How's that working for you? Anywho, we are, so far today, not really batting very high for any signs of obvious. I mean, there's been moose tracks and indents, what we call artifacts, but they're not really, they don't look like human feet or anything, so it's nothing overly interesting. I have mixed feelings. I was kind of like walking. The question is, do I want to go to another area, or do I want to delve into this book or not? So can I get in here? I guess we can sort of get in here. We'll start in, have a look about. See if we catch one of them in the undergrowth. I tend to doubt it. But anyway, the interesting week was basically the calls for censorship because the evil naysayers are inside the walls. And one of the naysayers, i.e. critical thinkers, how about freedom of speech? If we're not violating the rules, is it against the rules to ask questions? No, apparently not. However, I defended it once too often because all of a sudden, whereas I was free to post before, I'm now suddenly on mod review in there. So they will allegedly tolerate, you know, equal airtime and speed and freedom of speech to a point. But if you buck the narrative enough, then obviously you are a heretic and you must be silenced. And the futility of the argument, really, if you don't understand it, is you go to the Facebook interface and there's this little blue button that says create group. You can make literally your own group and set your own rules up. And then all these charming people are going to come and flock to it and try to spread the word there. But if you kind of made it clear to them that this is a critical thinking type group, and they're welcome to post their stuff, but it will face scrutiny, how do you think that's going to go over? How do you think that goes over? Because the skeptics tend to laugh off the censorship because they kind of, shit, I kind of didn't go the right way. They take it as kind of a, god damn it, self-affirmation that the voices of the woo, this is why I didn't want to do this. It's such a pain in the ass to get through this crap. Have a low threshold for contrary opinions. And my opinion, and here I am in front of my camera, as soon as I get clear of all this lovely grabber bush crap, and fuck every one of you. Yes, arrange sticks. Bigfoot did not do that, so suck it. Maybe that'd be my new catchphrase. My own opinion offered on the subject here in my armchair environment. Clearly, I know nothing. And, okay, I admit, I don't know what species these flowers are. I'm sure I could look them up in short order, but as sure as I get a gnat out of my nose. Bigfoot is not Zorth. Anyone espousing Zorth or anything Matthew Johnson needs a good swift punch in the back of the head with a 2x4 with a big nail coming out of it. And by nail, I mean rusty railroad spike. It's the only way to get the evil stupids out of there. I hear peepers in the distance. So, he is not without proof. Zorth, a Native American spirit guide of some kind, although I respect Native American belief, at least on a folklore level. At least these folks had this as part of a cultural significance kind of a thing, explaining their relationship to the natural world, something. He doesn't jump through portals without evidence. He does not mind speak, which is redneck fucking bullshit for telepathy or mind reading and or ESP without evidence. And nobody, despite all the CIA and KGB efforts to prove that ESP is a thing, has ever proven this is a thing that people can actually do. I don't discount it. I don't believe in it. I don't not believe in it. I don't know if it exists. Fair to say, if I knew somebody that could do it on a regular basis and they knew what I was thinking all the time, I probably wouldn't date them because that would get on your nerves real fast, and I think you know that. So, what else is Bigfoot? Bigfoot is not proven to knock on trees. Bigfoot is not proven to stockpile sticks, etc., etc., etc. And if you have evidence of this, pony it up. Let's see it. I'm not saying that you're batshit crazy to think these things. I'm saying Let's see your evidence and let's see what you got. If somebody came out of the blue and had evidence of hard, solid evidence of the woo becoming non-woo that you could scientifically verify and measure in terms of some kind of visual or otherwise some form of acuity, I'd be more than happy to change my mind. I go by what I see, what I feel, what I know. And I don't know that because I haven't seen any evidence of it. I've been doing this for a while. So if that offends you, suck it up, because I'm not changing that. And to every little whiny little bitch who wants to freaking sit out there, notice I'm getting a little bit on my high horse right now, who wants to whine, bitch, and complain about not respecting other people's opinions. If you're a bullshitter, you're a bullshitter, and fuck you for wanting me to freaking validate your bullshit. That is a you problem. That is not a me problem by any stretch of the imagination. So, no, I will not be doing that for you. I simply don't have to do your job for you. You want the mainstream, or at least the critical thinking elements of the community to buy into your nonsense, then fucking apply some evidence to it. That's never going to change, and we're not going anywhere. And as much as you infest our groups to bring in the word, to preach the word and the hidden truth, here is the hidden truth of Bigfooting, and this may, again, it might bunch the panties up of a few people, but bunched up undies being what they are. The wording just lost me. God damn it! I hate when I lose a perfectly good one-liner. It will come back to me. Damn it. Basically, the gist of it is, oh yeah, the world does not owe you respect for your bogus opinion. You owe the world evidence to your assertions. And the one classic refrain that I adore so much, because it's such a cute little thing. We, the deniers of your claims, are not the ones who owe proof of evidence. You make the claim, you smelt it, you dealt it. Evidence is your responsibility at that point, not mine. Get over it. And for every person who comes into one of my groups preaching the word, you have gotten a much more diplomatic welcome and a lot more tolerance shown to you than I've seen shown to people the other way around. And how many mother bleeping groups do you have to have on Facebook that are named Bigfoot or Bigfoot believers? Because there's easily a gazillion of them. You have plenty of your own. You don't need to invade the other ones. But you basically want to step on the competition and own the conversation. And you're never going to, because you're full of shit. You're a joke. Until you can show me the punchline. Until you can, nobody's laughing. That seems like a very self-righteously indignant way to end this segment. We'll be back in a little bit. And thank you for listening to the airtime. That is my rant. We'll be back. It's going to be the outro. It's kind of quiet here today. Tried to get the drone going. This being the Mini, not the Spark. But unfortunately, there seems to be an update necessary. And I forgot to power the fucking thing. So it is what it is. So we will maybe make an attempt at that next week. And other than that, we took a photo of some weird looking balled up poop of some animal scat. So we'll post that up to Facebook when we get home and let people decide what they think that is. So let me know in the comments when we get that up there. And until next time, like, subscribe, leave comments as you see fit, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.